everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kissa Thompson, and I am the engagement specialist here at OpenStax. And you are joining us for our Kindle Hunt Publishing webinar today. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to give about 10 seconds for others to join in. But while we're waiting, please take a moment to let us know where you are joining us from, and we'll give a little shout out to a few of you. All righty. Well, Kendall Hunt, while we're waiting for others to join us, where are you guys joining us from?
Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay. And we have
Chanhassen, Minnesota.
Nice. And then we have Kansas. So hello, Kansas. We're going to wait 5 more seconds and then we'll get started. All right, thank you all. So let's jump right in, but Katina, let us know. So most of you probably know what OpenStax is, but if you're new to OpenStax, there are a few key things you'll want to know. First, OpenStax is a nonprofit educational initiative based out of Rice University, located in Houston, Texas. We are the world's largest publisher of open educational resource. As a mission-oriented organization, we are committed to expanding access to relevant and engaging teaching and learning materials so that all students can have the amazing educational experience they deserve. We are most known for our digital library of openly licensed peer-reviewed textbooks. These textbooks are available for free online in WebView and PDF format. Since 2012, we have published over 73 textbooks for college and high school courses. OpenStax has had a large impact on students and instructors across the globe. Since publishing our first textbooks in 2012, we have saved 43.3 million students over $3.4 billion in textbook costs. Over 2,200 colleges in 169 countries and 72% of U.S. higher education institutions have reported using an OpenStax textbooks. These accomplishments would not have been possible without the support of our OpenStax technology partners like Kindle Hunt Publishing and instructors like you. All of our books are designed to meet the general scope and sequence requirement of the respective courses and are written and reviewed by experienced faculty and subject matter experts. Each of our books also goes through an extensive editorial process to ensure that the content is up to date, clear to understand, and inclusive and representative of diverse audiences. Our textbooks look like a lot of the other textbooks that are out there. However, unlike textbooks that aren't OER, instructors can modify, remix, and rearrange the content in any way necessary to meet the needs of their students. Here at OpenStax, we offer much more than just textbooks. Each of our books also come with its own unique suite of free instructors and student resources. These can include test banks, lecture slides, solution guides, LMS integration, and customizable doc files. Accessibility is a top priority, and to make our book as widely available as possible, our textbooks are freely available 24/7, 365 days a year on our website in an interactive WebView format. You can also download free PDF copies of our textbooks on our website or purchase low-cost print copies. These options are particularly helpful for students who lack reliable internet access. Additionally, with a free instructors account, you can unlock unlimited access to our free instructors and student resources. All instructors' account requests are quickly verified by our customer support team, ensuring only instructors are using our resources like test banks. As our library of textbook continues to grow, we're excited to share numerous titles that we have recently published. We now have a full 8-title nursing series and a 5-title computer science collection available, as well as lifespan development and the new 4th edition of American Government. If you would like additional information about these or any OpenStax resources, our customer support team is standing by to answer any question at info@openstax.org. Here at OpenStax, we know that technology is essential for teaching, especially in today's hybrid learning environment, and that finding the right technology for your course can be challenging. We help streamline this process through partnering with 35 education technology organizations that offer products aligned with our content. In exchange for using our content in their products, our technology partner provide us with mission support fees that help us to maintain and reinvest in our products while maintaining affordability for their products. Ultimately, OpenStax technology partners enrich OpenStax material with low-cost, high-value resources to support instructors and students. Now we'll pass it over to Kindle Hunt Publishing. Thank you so much and enjoy the webinar.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm Jeff Shelsted with Kendall Hunt Publishing Company. So we work with OpenStax in a couple of ways. The first is just so you're aware, if your students or bookstore would desire affordable print product, even though, as Kissa mentioned, the digital product is, of course, free on the OpenStax site. We are the exclusive provider of those affordable print versions. So surprisingly, a lot of students really enjoy print as long as it's affordable. And so we sell well over 100,000 print books a year to the large student base that OpenStax serves. But this webinar is more about the other way we work with OpenStax, which is to work with individual faculty or sometimes institutions to improve the OER content or modify the OER content for that institution or professor's specific needs. So Kendall Hunt's been around a long time. We're in Dubuque, Iowa, 85-year-old company, third generation family owned. So we're private, unlike most of the publishing companies that are out there today. We're still family owned and growing nicely. As I mentioned, our real focus is on this custom publishing approach. So we work with thousands of professors annually to improve the materials for their course. And of course, the open license around this OER content, OpenStax content, makes that very scalable and very doable. So we evolve with the times, of course. Our content's become very dynamic, but we, again, provide, the key thing is we provide really that white glove service to get the professor's course to meet exactly the goals of the institution. And so we're very good at what we do, and Chris is going to cover some of how we do that. Chris will be the star here today. He's been with Kendall Hunt a lot longer than I have, almost 18 years, and he drives all of our technology and product initiatives. And of course, in today's world, with all of the movement in AI, it's a pretty exciting time. I've spent my entire 35-year career in ed tech, mostly on the higher education side. And relative to our work with OpenStax, I founded and led the first commercial OER publisher in higher education way back in 2007. Flat World Knowledge was launched, and we had a really nice impact on the industry. So I'll jump aside here, and then Chris is going to walk through two of our platforms, KHP Content, which is kind of our high-end, really interactive platform, and then a courseware platform, which gives a little bit more control to the local user or the local institution. And then we'll also discuss some of our AI initiatives. And as Chris chats, feel free to drop any of your questions in the attendee chat. I'll monitor that. And then we'll probably have some time at the end if there's any additional questions. So Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to start by sharing my screen here. Can everybody see my screen that says the Beatles? Or is it? Nope. Let's see here. How about, can you see it now? Looks like maybe it's sharing the description word. Let's do this right here.
Kissa says she can see it, Chris.
Okay, go. Can see it?
She can. She said she can. I can see it now. Yep.
Can see the Beatles? Okay, good. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So as Jeff mentioned, we're going to briefly look at two platforms today. The first one is called KHP Content. That is a platform that, as Jeff mentioned, it is more about custom content. You as the instructor can create content that is your own content, but it can also be supplemented by OER content, obviously by OpenStax if you so choose. But this platform, you're going to work with a team of people, including an instructional design, and also a web designer, and then finally a project editor. And this is an example of one of our projects in our online platform content. This was specifically, they sit down and they'll meet with you and go over requirements. And it's kind of like an open design here. You can You can decide what you want it to look like, what functionality you want. It's all custom, and it goes, like I said, it's kind of a collaborative team environment between you and them. So it is all online. It has we don't, we call it a light LMS. We are a companion. We like to tell people we're a companion to the learning management systems of the schools. We are LTI certified 1.3, so we can do, linking for the single sign-on. We can do deep linking. We basically have the grade book, passing back and forth, but it is completely integrated with the school's LMSs. As you can see here, we're delivering the course content, which obviously is a rich content. We want to do different forms of multimedia because it helps with the students with learning, the studies have shown. But there is, the content getting delivered, there is assignments, there is, in this example, there's required listening, there's formats, there's different checkboxes. And like I said, you as the instructor have the ability to decide what type of functionality you want and how you want that layout to go. So you can see here, I'm going to click on chapters, and it's going to take me to basically show me the different chapters of the book. And like I said, this design is all up to you and the designer. You can kind of give feedback and decide what you'd like to see. But you can see it's broken out into chapters. There is a glossary. We do have assignments up here. I'm going to take you into the assignments and what they can look like. But you can see here, the student can take the test if they want time limits. You can set up time limits. I've started an exam, I can resume it. The questions, when it comes to assessment, are pretty straightforward. The layout is however you want it. For example, I'll go in here and just show you real quick how this works from a standpoint of, in this case, you can see here the instructor wants each question laid out on each page. We do have the ability to put all the questions in just one page, and they scroll through it. You can see there it has the timing if the instructor wants that. Those are all just things that are set up in the grade book from that standpoint. I am going to jump over here real quick. When we're talking about assessment, you can see here, these are the different types of questions we have. You can see that there's multiple choice, fill in the blank, classify, match and order, written and recorded, highlight, math, graphing, charts, chemistry. So multiple choice, pretty self-explanatory, true, false. You can see here it's got fill in the blanks with drag and drop features. You can do classify, match and order if you want them in a certain order, or classification, all that. You do have the ability to record the student, whether it's voice or video, to do an answer. Highlights. Math is a big one. One of the positives that we hear back from our instructors is our previous math vendors, it was all about programming and code, and you had to be a computer programmer to kind of really get it to understand it and work. This new solution we have, it's more about drag and drop and using your mouse. And if you're looking for a math product and graphing, it's, you can do it both ways. And by both ways, I mean, as an instructor, you can create the questions yourselves. We still have that, as Jeff mentioned, that white glove service where sometimes the instructors tell us, hey, please create it for me. They'll send in examples of what they're looking for, requirements, and we will do that and set that up for you. You can see there's graphing, there's charts, there is a chemistry section, but these are all just standard assessment types of questions that we offer in the content platform. You can see here there's file uploads and ratings and all the kinds. But once again, this feature for assessment is available both in the content platform I'm showing you, and it's also available in the courseware platform that I'm going to show you right after this. But that's just kind of a brief, shows you capabilities of what types of assessment questions that we can do. Now, as I come back to the actual product and the section, go over here to assignments. There is forums, so the students can have discussion boards, for example. You can see here that the instructor put a question in. If you go to that discussion board, the students here can create subjects and reply back. And once again, it's just a discussion board. We go over here to required listening. This kind of gives you an example of different topics, as far as different types. Here we have audio files that the students can listen to. There's links out to other articles. Like I said, we're big into the multimedia. I'll come here and show you actually one of the chapters. I know a big topic that's coming up with the law changes is, is it ADA compliant? Yes, it is ADA compliant. We work on those as we build all these projects. But you can see here, this is the layout, and it's a good mix of text, audio. There's going to be some probably video down here. But once again, this is all up to you as the instructor to work with our team to see how you want it designed and how you want the layout to look. But that is going into the chapter. It does have the ability to make chapters available depending on dates, or if the students complete it. Some instructors want them not to get ahead of the class, or they want them to, do things in a certain way. That is all customizable and possible in this solution. You can do archive lectures. We can talk about the grade book real quick. Once again, this using LTI can sync back into the grades. Here's some different screenshots of, what it can look like, and some of the, you got all your ADA compliance as far as visibility, retakes, accommodations, all that is built in. That kind of gets you into the grade book. A piece that we also have here is we've added this analytics section. So each class can go in and look at the analytics. And for the instructor, so for example, they can look at page views, and you can look at this by student, by class. You can see how many page views they're doing, how much time they've spent on the coursework. This is a big one. Students will come to an instructor and say, I'm really struggling, and, can I get some extra help, or I need some help? And they'll come into here and say, well, I'm seeing you're really spending the minimal amount of time on the platform and looking at it. Once again, here's, user logins. You can see when the students have logged in. You can look at this from a class perspective or from an individual student perspective. You can go down here, the same kind of concept. It's got page visited, and it's got each page, and it's got the minutes that have been spent on that page. And in this case, I'm looking at the class, but you can narrow this down to the student. So once again, you can see, well, you didn't do real well on this chapter test, but you only spent X amount of minutes on that chapter. So this is all real time. You as the instructor can go in and look at these analytics at any time, and take a good look at that. So that's kind of the analytics piece. And up here, I forgot, you can do it by individual user. You can do it by days, specific dates. You can export this all into an Excel file if you want. But that kind of gives you an idea of what the analytics for this platform look like. I'm going to kind of jump around on the agenda. Sorry, but it's here while we're here doing it. We're going to talk about AI in a little bit. You'll see down here in both platforms, we have an AI tutor. And so down in the lower right-hand corner, this is Oscar. We're actually putting a customization in so that you're going to be able to name this what you would like, and also change the logo of it. Because we're having a lot of schools that say, hey, we'd like to call it our mascot or an icon. But you can see here, this is an AI tutor. So this is using AI. The key here, and I want to talk just a few minutes about our AI philosophy. Our AI philosophy is that the AI should be a companion to you teaching the course. It shouldn't replace anything. The goal of our AI is we are using what we're calling a closed loop. AI in this case is not going to the outside world. It is not going out to outside content. In this case, this AI tutor is only looking at specific content in our publication. So for example, if you create a publication on the Beatles and you think they're the greatest band in the world and you're teaching this class, but somebody out there feels differently about the Beatles, this AI tutor is only going to look at the content that is in your course. It is not going to pull responses from the outside world. And so I can see here, who are the founding members of the Beatles. And basically you can ask any question you'd like. This will, once again, it's only searching the publication content. You can see over here, it does create a history of all the different, your chat history. You can see here, it came back based on this content, it provided this answer. I can click out of there, go back to it. I can go back in and it'll pop right back up. Another point is that once the user starts an assessment or a test, Oscar is disabled. And so they cannot use AI once the assessment has started. If they start the assessment and they save the assessment, but they don't finish, they will not be able to come back into Oscar until they have completely submitted the assessment. So we're taking out that kind of go back and forth. We introduced the AI tutor in the spring of 2025. It was our first kind of AI piece that we put in there. And what we've seen it for quite a bit is students are using it to study for test. And so I'm just going to say, can you summarize chapter 2? And so we see a lot of summarizing and can you help me study for test? Some of the other data that is interesting is the majority of the use is using it at night after hours or after professor hours during the day or class hours. So most of the usage is, like I said, at night. You can see here, we're kind of still interested to keep monitoring and see how it's getting used and if there's ways that we can tweak it to improve the user experience. But this is how we're using the AI tutor in this platform. And like I said, you'll see it in the other platform also. Kind of going into the next piece for AI, and that is we've created this AI quiz generator where once again, this is creating quiz questions based off the content that is in the publication. So it is not pulling from the outside world. It's only pulling from the content that we have. Now, the big part here is our process is we use this AI to create the questions and the assessment, and then it still gets reviewed by you, the instructor. The instructor has final say. Sometimes there's questions that you would say, hey, I don't like that one. I don't want it out. Where this has really been a positive for us is we have instructors that'll create their own custom content and they'll use that same content for like a year or two, and then they keep using that content. What AI has allowed us to do here is to basically refresh that. We haven't talked about it, but in our content platform, you do have question pools, and so you can create as many question pools as you want and choose on which content is provided to that student during assessment. And so what this has helped us to do is helped instructors to refresh their their assessment questions or their study questions on a more efficient, quicker way. And it keeps that data fresh, which is always a good thing. You can see here, there's multiple choice, true, false, multiple select. We'll talk about it maybe in a little bit on the AI future, but we're going to add more types of data questions to this platform. And then the other thing that our feedback has, this, by the way, this went into the summer of 2025. The feedback that we've really received is instructors want an ability to create a level of difficulty. So whether it's an easy question, a medium, or a more difficult. So we are working on that level of difficulty to add as a function to this. But like I said, this is to, make it more efficient and help the instructors be able to spend time doing maybe other things or more important things. And this can help them make it a little easier. The third component, and this is in the content platform, is this is using AI feedback to look at essay questions. So it's a AI feedback for essay grades. So in this example, you can see where here's the question right up here. And then it's an essay type question. And then here's the points awarded. And then this is the student's answer down here. And you can see here, we're going to say grade essay beta question. All right. And this is using AI to grade the student's question. And as you can see down here, it works with rubrics. And so the instructor can create any rubric they want. You might say, I only want 3 rows or 3 categories. I only want 2 points, or I want 10 points. This rubric right here is completely made by you, the instructor. And so what it does is AI goes out and it bases the student's answer and it assigns these rubrics. And then it gives a score. And then down here, it actually gives a response why it gave those scores. So once again, in staying with our philosophy of AI, this is just a companion to help you, the instructor. So you may read the student's answer and you say, I really don't agree with AI, and I think it more should be 1 point. So you have the ability to override this. You can see down here the score changed when I went from good to all right. And then lastly, you have the ability as an instructor to change this down here. So you're like, well, I don't really like that word, or I want to add in a sentence of my own. You have the ability to change that down to the grade level. Once everything looks good to you, you're going to click on the submit grade, and it's going to go into the grade book and notify the student of this response. Once again, kind of the studies are showing that this is for grading essay questions, this can save 30%, maybe a little bit more of your time. We have, when we ran this into production, right before we QA'd it, and we did run against historical data to kind of see how accurate it was compared to the instructor. And it was pretty close to being pretty accurate. So once again, the purpose isn't for AI to do the final grading. It's for AI to make a recommendation to save the instructor time when it comes to reviewing this and kind of maybe give you a little bit of a jump start. And this has been in production since the fall of last year. And so we're seeing more and more users or more instructors that are enabling this option because they kind of shied away from the essays depending on the number of students they would have. And now they're more open to that essay type of question. So that kind of shows you the 3 areas that we're using AI in the content platform. And I'll go over here once again, but this is just back. And like I said, this is all, you're working with a team of 3 people with our company that are walking you through the process, are helping you, get from A to Z, as they say. Should bring up a final or another piece is that we do offer tech support 7 days a week. from basically 7 a.m. until in Central Standard Time till midnight. And so that team is here to help the students. And if there's any problems or any questions, instructors can also reach out to them, but we have an onboarding team that will, once you're done with your 3 team members of building the publication and the platform, you kind of get handed over to onboarding. Onboarding can handle the LTI integrations, the compliancy with the school. There's usually like privacy data agreements we need to review or sign. And there's, VPATs, the voluntary product templates, accessibility template. Those types of things, onboarding handles. And they're also, onboarding is there for you as the instructor to kind of help you kind of walk through if there's any questions you have, or kind of, ramp up to fully using the product. That's kind of a quick glance at the content platform. I'm going to move on to the courseware platform, unless is there any questions, Jeff, that have come up?
I don't see any in the chat right now, Chris.
Okay. All right. So we're going to switch over from the content platform. Now we're going to go over to the courseware platform. Now, the courseware platform has a lot of the same features. In other words, it's online, it's LTI compliant. It can be sold and delivered the same ways. The difference with the courseware is it's more of like a do-it-yourself platform. So with the content platform, you're going to be working with that team of people, and you're going to do a design, and you're going to come up with custom content and all that. The courseware platform is more, I'm going to use the same standard design as the platform offers, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to be able to edit the content whenever I want. I want to change it around. And you're going to have that ability as an instructor. So you can see that I've logged into the courseware platform. You see here I've got the psychology product from OpenStax. You can see some of the different functionality. I can create a new book from scratch. I can upload documents if I want to add in something new. I can add this to a class if I want. If I want to mix books, I want to take 2 books and I want to combine them, I have that ability. But as you can see here, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look into this. You can see that I want to decide, I'd like to teach approaches to research before the other one. So I can just do this. I can drag and drop it up and down. Okay. I can go in there and I can edit down to the level. So here it took me into this section. Here's a summary. If I want to edit that, I can just click the edit button. I can go in, I can change it to whatever I want. All right. Each piece of data is like a chunk of data, if you will. If you don't like it, I can just click that X and I can remove it. You can also say, I want to move it up and down. You click on that down there and you just drag it up and down wherever you want. But this is, like I said, this is kind of more of the do-it-yourself. If you want to add in a new piece, you can. But this is more, you're coming in, you want to control it, and you can do that through this platform. I'm going to go back here real quick. So, like I said, you have really complete control here. You can say, if I want to add my own content, I can put an assessment, I can upload a file, I can do an add a new item. All right, it's pretty all self-explanatory, and you can do whatever you want as far as that. You can add a new chapter. So like I said, when I think of this platform, I think of just do it yourself. Once again, it kind of gives you an idea of, it's a multimedia approach. You can, click on the content. You can have videos. You can do photos. You can do all that kind of stuff as far as delivering the same type. But the difference here is your layout is going to be kind of the same. And if I look over here, let's see. This I want to show you real quick is, so this is kind of what the student sees. So the student has logged into courseware. They have, your introduction to psychology. You can kind of see here, they've got, and once again, you can change this down to the sentence level. There's videos there. Also, you'll see Oscars down in the low right. Kind of talked about that. So here it kind of works. I'm going to do a contemporary psychology. And Oscar works just like before. Let's see if I do this. He might come back and ask me what I'm asking. Really didn't ask him a question. But so this is what the student sees. Like I said, assessment is, you can see there he just came back with, an answer to what it is. So that works just like it does in content. The assessment can be built in. It has the same functionality like we talked about as the content platform. So the same types of questions, same formats. There is a grade book. But this is what the student will see from that standpoint. So you kind of see
Chris,
how
there's
Yep.
a couple of questions in the chat, so I thought I'd throw them at you. I can probably handle some of the first ones. So the Svetlana asked, how is platform, and I assume she means either KHP content or courseware, different from WebAssign? So Svetlana, what I would say is WebAssign is a really powerful problem-based assessment platform. So when you saw some of the problem types, question types that Chris was walking you through in the content demonstration, you'd have that full functionality in WebAssign, or you have that with us too. We also partner with an organization called Learnosity for more on the STEM side. WebAssign was initially started in STEM, in the sciences, and so it has a very strong science, kind of content approach. So we, stack up with our Learnosity partnership a little bit more directly with WebAssign, perhaps. But this is, this has, full book, and in the case of both platforms, complete control rests with you. As Chris said, on the KHP content side, a little bit more help from us. On the courseware side, a little bit more direct, do it yourself. And then Noreen asked, and Chris, maybe you can answer this one. Does this integrate? Again, this came up just recently, so maybe it's courseware, maybe it's KHP content. But does this integrate with Google Classroom? So you have any thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, so with the Google Classroom, yes and no, because it can integrate in the standpoint of that you can put links out in the Google Classroom, and those links can come out to our platform, and it can integrate, for example, we can integrate with Google rosters. But as far as loading the content into Google Classroom, from a KHP content stat form, we don't do that, but from the courseware platform, we could do that. And the difference there is that most of the content in KHP content is copyrighted and is protected, and while the courseware is more OER content. So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much there.
No, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully those are, good answers to at least those two questions that have popped up in chat. And again, this is Jeff, so I put my contact information in the chat. So you all have that if you want to follow up after this webinar. We're getting near the end of it. Luann asked a question. Chris, what is the cost? So I'll jump in quickly, and then Chris, you can clarify too. So I would say in terms of affordability, the courseware platform, the last platform that Chris walked through, is going to be much more affordable generally to your students, and that's because it's more DIY, right? It's more of the onus of the work falls on the user, whether the user is a librarian or a bookstore on campus or a faculty member, whoever the user might be. The KHP content, as Chris was clarifying, is more white glove, where we have 3 people that work closely with the author or the modifier, if you will, to create a really comprehensive experience. And so I would say our KHP content courses run, Chris, jump in here if I state this wrong at all, but somewhere in the range of say $40 up to low 100s, depending again on the assets that are included, et cetera. Courseware can be a much more affordable platform in the $20 or $30 range, direct to your student. So those are kind of the wide variances, but nonetheless, it's kind of the general direction.
Yeah, I mean, and that cost kind of depends on, you as the instructor and what content we're loading. If you're using OER, that's a different story compared to if there's content in there we have to get permissions on and do those different types of things.
That's a good point.
And we haven't talked about it, but, from a delivery standpoint, we talked about it, LTI integrating, but both these platforms can sell product kind of to the bookstore. It can do direct to students. It can do inclusive access. It can do directly to the school if it sounded like maybe there was a K-12 out there. But so it sells to all those different options. We can support them all. And then finally, we can do code and codeless, depending on, depending on what model that you choose.
Chris, another question just came in from Luann, which is a follow-up. What did I see when Chris was showing his screen? Again, I think we're on courseware, where a new book can be developed, or was it a course?
Well, so you would create the course first, and then you can create the book, if you will, in the course. It's the course materials.
Yep. So I think the answer, Luann, is maybe yes and yes.
Yeah.
Good. So we're, we promised about 40 minutes or so, and I think, Kissa, we're right at it, just a little bit over 40. So it's probably a good time to wrap it up, unless there's any final questions in the chat. Again, my contact information, jjshelston@kendallhunt.com is in the chat. So please follow up directly with me if you have questions about our capabilities, about how we could work with an OpenStax title that you're currently using or considering using. Those love to support you on those efforts if they're available. Any other comments from you, Kissa, as we wrap up?
I see that there was one more comment there. Do you want to address?
Oh, this is Luann's follow-up. I saw create book from scratch. Chris, can you comment on just that? Is that that's a capability that sits inside courseware?
Yeah. Yep. If you wanted to use the platform and create your own product from scratch, you could do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. If there are any additional questions, Jeff did leave his email in the chat area. There's also the call to action button that is on your lower left-hand side of your screen. There's a button there. If you click that, it'll go to directly to his email. So we would like to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you so much for your time. We enjoyed having you. And until the next time, we would like to say bye-bye for now. And thank you again. And
thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, Kendall Hunt, for being an amazing technology partner. And we'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye, guys.